1 Kings chapter 10. And the queen of Sheba heard the name of Solomon and the name of the Lord, and came to test him with enigmas. And she came to Jerusalem with an exceedingly heavy force, and camels lifting aromatics, and exceedingly much gold, and much valuable stone. And she went to King Solomon, and spoke to him all as much as was in her heart. And Solomon explained to her all the words of her questions, and there was not a word being overlooked by the king which he did not explain to her. And the queen of Sheba beheld all the intellect of Solomon, and the house which he built, and the foods for Solomon, and the form of his servants, and the position of his ministers, and their clothes, and his wine servers, and his whole burnt offering which he offered in the house of the Lord. And she was beside herself. And she said to King Solomon, "The word is true which I heard in my land concerning the word about you, and concerning your intellect. And I trusted not in the one speaking to me, until of which I came, and my eyes have seen. And behold, it is not according to the half as they reported to me. You have added wisdom and good things over all the report which I heard in my land. And blessed are your wives, and blessed are these your servants, standing before you continually, and hearing your intellect. May the Lord your God be blessing whom he wants by you, to put you upon the throne of Israel. Because the Lord loves Israel, to establish it into the eon, and to set you for king over them, to execute judgment in righteousness and in their equity." And she gave to Solomon 120 talents of gold, and exceedingly much spices, and valuable stone. There had not come as those spices yet in multitude, which the queen of Sheba gave to King Solomon. And the ship of Hiram, carrying the gold from out of Ophir, brought exceedingly much hewn timbers and valuable stone. And the king made the hewn timbers for supports of the house of the Lord, and the house of the king, and stringed instruments, and lutes for the singers. There had not come such unhewn timbers unto the land, nor was seen somewhere until this day. And King Solomon gave to the queen of Sheba all as much as she wanted, and as much as she asked, outside of all which was given to her through the hand of King Solomon. And she returned and came unto her land, she and her servants. And was the weight of the gold that came to Solomon in 1 year 666 talents of gold, apart from the tribute of the ones submitting, and the merchants, and all the kings of the other side of the Jordan, and the satraps of the land. And King Solomon made 200 spears of gold hammered out. 600 weights of gold was used for the one spear. And he made 300 oblong shields of gold hammered out. 3 minas of gold were used for the one oblong shield. And the king put them in the house of the forest of Lebanon. And the king made a great ivory throne, and gilded it in unadulterated gold, with 6 stairs to the throne, and the upper part had calves from out of the places behind it to the throne. And there were handrails on this side and that side upon the place of the chair, and 2 lions standing by the handrails. And there were 12 lions standing upon the 6 stairs on this side and that side. There was not such in any kingdom. And all the vessels used by Solomon were of gold, and the bathing tubs were of gold, and all the vessels of the house of the forest of Lebanon were completely of gold. and there was not silver, for it was not thought anything in the days of Solomon. For a ship of Tarshish belonged to King Solomon upon the sea with the ships of Hiram. One ship came to the king every 3 years from out of Tarshish, with gold and silver, and turned and hewn stones. And Solomon was magnified above all the kings of the earth in riches and intellect. And all the kings of the earth sought the face of Solomon to hear his intellect, which the Lord put in his heart. And each brought his gifts to him, items of silver and items of gold, and clothes, balsam and spices, and horses and mules according to year by year. And Solomon brought chariots and horsemen, and there were to him 1,400 chariots and 12,000 horsemen. And he put them in the cities of the chariots, and with the king in Jerusalem. And the king put the silver in Jerusalem as stones, and the cedars he put as the sycamine trees in the plain in multitude. And the exiting of the horsemen of Solomon was from out of Egypt, and from out of Cui. The merchants of the king took merchandise from out of Cui in barter. And there ascended an exiting from out of Egypt, a chariot for 600 pieces of silver, and a horse for 150 pieces of silver. And thus to all the kings of the Hittites and to the kings of Syria, by their hand they came forth.